Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your podcast host, and tonight we're talking about how to fight CPS and stop taking our children. Yes, lovely CPS, all of you that have been going through. I want to give you a warm welcome because I know how traumatic fighting CPS and what they are. Every day I see something new, and every day it gets awful and awful. I too was in CPS. I'm a loving father. I have 6 children. 3 are grown up, 3 are still young. And right now, my family consists of 4 living at home. We lost our home after worked 40 years for it. I had to sell it to hire an attorney to get my children back. And that's the awful things because you're dealing with a very corrupt agency that doesn't care. Now, I've been fighting it since 2010, and unfortunately, I lost my job after working. I've been working and I was age 60, and I've been working since 15. So that was 45 years I've been working. And that's a long time. And I had a beautiful family until the child protection system interfered and took my children that weren't in imminent danger and maybe go on a wild goose chase for 2 years, 3 years. It was 2015 when they took my children. 2010 when I started to get the harassment, and then 2017 when I finally got my 2 of my 3 children back. The older ones weren't living at home, so they weren't affected. But I tell you, and I'm so glad to see Faye and welcome. Faye is a remarkable lady who's from Richmond, Kentucky, who's been on my show and helps me out so much. She's a fighter, and she knows that CPS is corrupt and so forth. And then she has a mother. She was in foster care herself for she'd been out of foster care for 5 years as a child. And later when she had children, they went after her children. She had a young girl just born, and she had an older son. And she had to make a choice. CPS was that cruel. They said you need to make a choice. So they made a choice. And the choice was awful because it was supposed to take if you have to pick someone, it's terrible that you would have to pick someone. And so she's been fighting forever to get guardianship of her son because he is a special needs kid. A special needs kid. And being a special needs kid, it really is hard because he's dependent on her. She's had to sacrifice a life with other relationships, and it was bad. Um, every time I do this podcast, all I do is to think about my children, and it is hard. It is hard. I do this twice a day, 7 days a week. Now we just had Misty Forson in. Welcome, Misty, and Christina. She's come in. She's moved now. She's in New Mexico, and I don't know where Misty is from, but I hear that she took your daughter. They are corrupt. Yes, Misty, they are. Welcome, Shannon. She's from Oklahoma. She's a Cherokee, and the tribe has her strangled because they don't want her to show stuff that she's found out has been bad, and they want to take away her children. She has a very horrible case. Now, I should tell everybody what this, how they interact with this room. The first one is just by being in the room. It is perfect just by being in the room, and you can listen. Um, the second way is to make comments. Now, a comment could be any kind of message you would type, but it should pertain to CPS. We're in this room to talk about the child protection services and how to get your children back and how to stay away from them. I have 4 rules I talk about. I have my experience, and plus I have the experience of others. Now, please show your name, city, state, or country. Now, you probably wonder, country. Well, I do have people that have CPS problems in 13 countries that have texted me. As far away as Bangladesh, New Delhi, India, Africa is South Africa, a province in South Africa, Mozambique, which is on the east coast of Africa, across from the island. And then I have a country called Rwanda, Central Africa East, next to the lake there. And I'm drawing a memory there. I can't think of the lake. Lake Victoria. And Madagascar is the island off Africa where Mozambique is. Then we go up northern Africa, and it's Liberia. And Liberia is on the coast, on the west coast in northern Africa. And we have a gentleman named Archie who comes in here and talks all the time. And then we go up to Europe, and we have England, Scotland, Wales, United Kingdom, and then Denmark and Sweden. Across the pond, we have the North America, we have Canada on both the west coast and the east coast of Canada, then down through the 50 states. I've talked to everyone in the 50 states, and I've talked to even Washington, D.C. Recently has been Washington, D.C. And then Mexico down south of the border. And then I go to South America, and Guyana is a country down there, east of Venezuela, north of Brazil. And then I go across the Pacific to the land down under, and Australia is the last country there. Those are the countries that have called in, or not called in, but text in. And so we welcome everybody in this room. All I ask is to be complete with your CPS case. Try to start from the beginning, how it got started, what your family's like. So you can start with your family makeup. Are you husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, partnership, or lovers? What is your family makeup? Are the children by the same parents or different parents? Are all the parents involved or one parent's involved? And then what are the ages of the children and the sexes? And then what were you neglect about or abuse? What was your allegations? And that way you could tell me also. And then after the allegations, you could tell me how your children were taken. Did you give them up? Did they go to your house? Do you let them in? Give them permission to let them in? And did they take your children even though they weren't in danger? So tell me all about that, and also where your case is at. Now, the third way of interacting with this podcast is to be a guest on our show. And then to be a guest on our show, now a guest means that you be side by side on the show. And to do so, you would contact our show producer, who is Grace, who works behind the scenes, and she would gladly help you get on the podcast. She'll give you the link. I broadcast on YouTube. I'm using the StreamYard application. Now, I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day, Monday through Sunday. I'm on the morning at 10 o'clock, except on Sunday I'm on at 8. That is tomorrow. I'll be on at 8 o'clock. That's Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour. On the evening, I'm on every night at 7 p.m. So Those are my show times and my dates, and I'd appreciate it um, if you let her know what you like, and she'll arrange everything else. She has email grace@vincentwdavis.com. Grace@vincentwdavis.com. And so you just email her and she takes care of the rest. Finally, the fourth way is to call me on my office phone number. It's 26-698-0990. Now, Alex Horner has called in. Alexis Horner. She came on and she said, "Why? Um, I need some more information." You mean the blue heart that Christine? She's asking about the blue heart, Christine, that you put. Uh, she put um, after her smile, and she is for Faye. When Faye was talking about, when I was talking about Faye, I had to talk about Faye because she's given so much, and it hurts so much. I really feel for that girl. Now, Misty now says that she is from Cincinnati, Ohio. Wow, we were just talking about someone, Kentucky, Richmond, Kentucky is not too far from Richmond, Ohio. I was looking at the Red River Gorge there. And so I welcome Alexis. I don't know what city and state you're from, but if you could put it in there, that would be great. And Misty says they allow my mother to adopt her, and my mother advocate demoralized me. A lawyer, and my mother is vindictive. Oh my God, that is so terrible, Misty. If you like to call in, that'd be great. If you like to call in, hello, Happy Feet. She's from Arizona. She's from Gilbert, Arizona. Um, Christine says tonight on the news it's being said that Arizona's CPS is not good. Well, you know, Arizona is home of the pink ladies. And if you want to really know about a social worker, the child protection system, all you have to do is go back in time to the year 2022. 8 ladies, social workers, they all were white, they were all female. You had to get pink t shirts. And on the front of the t shirts, they put professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they put, "Do you know where your children are at?" So that was your typical idea what a social worker is. And they parade around Costco, Walmart, Target. And it really upset the people there. They were caught. They were fired along with the director of, they call their outfit DCS, Department of Children's Services. They got rid of their CPS system and they fired the director and those 8 social workers. That was 25 years of experience that city lost. Is our kids being protected? No. Christina, can you tell us a story about the Arizona CPS not being good? Thank you, Faye. Would you like to call in, Faye, and explain the videos? Because you're more familiar with her than I am. There's 2 awful videos she showed. One was about a black lady, her children being ripped from her, and they didn't have any rights. They don't care about people's rights. Um, yeah, Christina, if you could look it up, that would be great. Faye, if you could call in and talk about those 2 videos. Okay, it's on the charger. I'll try my best on the videos. I'll get with you in a second here, Sean, and let me deal with Faye and her videos. Anyway, her videos, one depicted a black woman. I wish I could play these on the show here, but maybe the sound, you might be able to hear it. I don't know. They're on TikTok, and I don't know if you can hear it, and maybe I could describe what is happening. But this is happening in the town of Lexington, near where she lives. Okay, I'm trying to turn on the volume here. Here we go. We can.
Ms. Sellers was absolutely correct. According to the hospital documents and court paperwork, the baby's system and Ms. Sellers' system were completely negative of any foreign substances.
So she's fighting with the police in Lexington.
Don't do that to me. Let go of me. No. You guys, I have no problem. No, you guys cannot do this to me. I know, but you guys are trying to take my baby. Please let go of me. Please. Put it back you don't let go of your arm. No, please. Let go of your arm. Please, let go.
Now remember, there were no warrants. There was no criminal act. The hospital staff, the police, all escalated the situation. And in this case, Miss Sellers has every right to be heard.
Oh my God. Please let go of me.
I'll get you the cup.
I can't breathe. Oh my God. Please let go of me.
The hospital staff member is choking Miss Sellers around the neck. The other ones are helping pin her against the wall while the police are putting cuffs on her when no crime has been committed.
I have the back of my hand. That's why I can't let it go. What are you doing?
The hand I'm on. Got it.
Okay, now listen. Hold on. Wait. Listen. Where's my shoe at? Can I have it? You need to come talk to me because look what you just did. What are you trying to take my baby for? No, you did not try to. You don't know. You kicked me out of the room because I'm so upset. They kidnapped my baby. Listen, did I understand, ma'am, that you are? You don't understand what's going on. But you have to give me a chance to explain to you the situation that's going on.
Just like bad apple police, your reputation precedes you. When CPS shows up to a joyful event such as a birthing, it's never a good thing. And with the confrontation that she had with Nurse Laura Pennington earlier, and the staff members making her feel uncomfortable by acting like Karens, can you blame Miss Sellers for wanting to get out of the hospital and leave as soon as possible?
But you can where's my baby? Where's my baby? Where's my baby? Where's my baby? We're going.
And this is right after she gave birth. Right after she gave birth. They're handcuffing her and taking her from the hospital.
Don't talk to me like that. You like black people? Don't talk to me like that. What's your shirt? Whatever your name is, I don't want you in my room. Can you get out now? I'm calm. No, I'm calm. Listen, I'm calm.
But I do know that Miss Sellers did not request a supervisor. The police actually requested their own supervisor because they realized something wasn't right. Miss Sellers still got charged with disorderly conduct, which more than likely, from my paralegal view, would probably be dropped.
Okay. Can I get up? Whatever you said, you covered that. Tell you that back. Well, let me get up my for you. This is not right. Where's my baby? Y'all can bring my baby in the room with me and she can stop me from being.
What's happened now, she's back in her hospital room and she's asking for a baby.
So what y'all want to talk about? What do y'all want to talk about? The baby's not staying here.
The baby's not in danger, she says.
He does not have any drugs in his system? Does he? Does he?
The report says
Miss
negative.
Sellers was absolutely correct. According to the hospital documents and court paperwork, the baby's system and Miss Sellers' system were completely negative of any foreign substances.
Don't do that to me like that. Let go of me. No.
Okay, the video's replaying again, but she got her baby back, but she had to fight for it. And I don't know if y'all heard that in the room, but it was really bad. It was really bad. It's an old story. Well, never stories are too old, Christina. It is very relevant, Faye, if you want to comment further. Now, after I've shown the video that Faye has, Shannon said something about what are the rules about CPS talking to your children without your knowledge or presence. Well, in California, the rules are you must be alerted as parents, be asked to come down to the school, sit in a separate room while they interrogate your children. Now, in other states, it may be different. I don't know what it is in Arizona or Oklahoma or Kentucky. Now, Shannon says they keep wanting to talk to my other two children, still in my custody. 12 months later, after I got custody of my oldest, even though they had already answered and asked them, and they seem to be trying to get them to say something different. They already said my children said something my children said they didn't say a few weeks ago. And by the way, you should be careful, Sean, because you're talking about the Indian welfare. They're not CPS. You told me that the reservation has them. So this is the Attorney General, who's the executive director of the Cherokee Nation, and that is who is behind this. You can't say the CPS talk to children. I don't know what the Indian Child Welfare Tribe policy is on interviewing children. Now, Happy Feet said they also found recently that the Department of Children's did not give judge all the information and flaw within it department, which was a massive issue. I agree, Happy Feet, I agree. Faye further says she got her baby back and sued and won, and then moved out of Kentucky and was given an apology letter. But that was no way she'd have experience at the birth of your child. Now, Christina says, okay, my kids looked it up. It's an old story, Bob. Well, it may be an old story, but we can still talk about it. And Faye, agrees. Can be relevant. Happy Feet says, wow, sounds that we went through almost exactly accusation of me having drugs in my system, which all the tests end up showing I did not. Yes, they will try to take your children. They're so bad about that. Now I'm going to play the second video, Faye, that you sent me.
Child Protective Services investigates more than 90,000 reports of suspected abuse.
No doubt they save lives, but all too often attorneys say children are taken from innocent parents.
Tonight, 7 Action News reporter Kim Russo shows us why it's so important to know your rights if CPS comes calling.
There is no amount of compensation that can ever get back what I've lost.
Julie Balmer lost almost everything when she tried to do the right thing. When her sister said she couldn't raise her newborn son, Julie took in baby Philip and offered to adopt him. Then when he was 5 weeks old, he suddenly stopped eating.
When the results came back, they said that there was bleeding in the brain.
A doctor at the hospital diagnosed him with shaken baby syndrome. Julie, in her 20s, with few resources, found herself unable to pay a doctor to review that diagnosis at trial. She was sent to prison for 15 years. After almost 5 years in prison, the Innocence Project helped exonerate her. An expert found an MRI that proved little Philip suffered a stroke, not trauma. However, by then, Philip had been permanently adopted. She had no right to see him.
To be told that I would have no contact with him, that's a cross that I'm going to bear for the rest of my life. That's a heartache.
Do I think the system works? No.
Child Protective Services defense attorney Sonia Cannon says all parents need to be aware. Even the innocent can find themselves under investigation for child abuse.
You better contact an attorney, and you better do it immediately.
It can happen at a hospital with an unexplained illness, or if your child says something that raises a red flag at school.
We don't need a warrant. We're CPS. We don't need a warrant.
This is video posted online by a local mom investigated after her special needs son said at school she didn't feed him when she says she simply changed his diet. Would you know what to do? She told the CPS worker, an attorney told her to ask what the allegations were before deciding whether to let her in the house.
Tell her that.
The attorney.
Well, I don't know. Don't call these attorneys because they don't know what they're talking about.
Technically, this woman doesn't have to let her in at home.
Attorney Cannon says this is a big question parents have, and you can see why. She recommends parents ask the allegations and then, based on that information, decide should they call an attorney or let the worker into their home because the home will help prove the allegations are false. After all, while the investigator does need a warrant to force entry, If you don't let them in, they may ask a judge to remove your children pending an investigation.
Well, you're in the state of Michigan. Do you understand what we do?
Yes, I do.
We can't remove children.
Julie says the devastating lesson she learned is don't let the fact you know you are innocent result in you letting your guard down.
So as a layperson, you put your trust in them, and you don't expect the system to fail. And unfortunately, the system failed. And I just happen to be a victim of that.
Michigan's Child Protective Services investigates more than 90,000 reports of suspected abuse.
No doubt they save lives, but all too often attorneys say children are taken from innocent parents.
Tonight, 7 Action News reporter Kim Russo shows us why it's so important to know your rights if CPS comes calling.
There is no amount of compensation that
Okay, that is another tragic thing about letting them into your home. Now, thank you, Faye, for sharing those videos. Now, Christina Reynolds said a worker in Arizona exposed the COS. You probably were talking about it, where a baby died on their custody. Yes, baby do die. Misty Frison from Cincinnati Home. My story is long. Would you like to call in? My phone number is available at 626-688-0990. You can call in right now, Misty, and explain your story. And it would help the other listeners in the room. I don't want you to give up. I don't want you to give up. Okay, the CPS. I'm sorry, Christine. You meant CPS, not COS. You meant exposed CPS. Probably we're talking about. Yes. So, Misty, if you'd like to call in, you can call in. Or anybody else can call in. I'm open for phone calls. What would you all like to talk about tonight? I have 100 topics. I have my 4 rules. What's your pleasure tonight? Okay. I can talk about my first rule, which is an important rule, is you need to get an attorney. The attorney is the key to having your case and your children returned. Without an attorney, and I don't mean a court-appointed attorney, you're running the risk of losing your children forever. I lost my daughter. She's 22 now. But at age 12, she was instructed by the social worker who had lied on the stand and was caught at doing a lie, wanted to take revenge. And so she told my daughter to divorce us, divorce her brothers, divorce her aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, and to change her name, to seal a birth certificate, and to be adopted in foster care. She did that. And a couple years ago, she got hurt in foster care. She's now living with my older daughter, which is good. But we still don't see her. And she still leaves a sad hurt in our heart. A sad hurt in our heart. So I'm telling you, you can't trust the CPS. You need to get an attorney. CPS is like doing heart surgery. If something's wrong with your heart, you as a layperson are not going to open your heart up. You're not going to fix your heart, or your neighbor, or your spouse, or somebody else, you're going to get a professional doctor, a doctor that goes and studies medicine and does an internship and does mentoring another doctor and gets a license. That's who a doctor does for open heart surgery. You need the same kind of person like that in CPS. And the guy that I'm talking about, his name is Vincent W. Davis. He has been an attorney fighting CPS for 35 years. He's a trial attorney. He knows how to fight CPS and get your children back. He'll work in any state. You just have to discuss the retainer from him. He's offering a consultation for 30 minutes for $60. That's 30 minutes for $60. It's well worth that consultation to talk to him. He'll help you navigate and suggest how to get your kids back. And if you like them, you can retain them. I know money is a problem. And if that's all you can do and use your court-appointed attorney, keep in mind, you have an attorney, you can't talk in court to the judge. You can't bring anything forward. And the attorney's not going to do anything. He has a caseload of 30 or more. He's not professional or experienced enough to fight CPS. He's friends with all the attorneys in that courtroom. So you can use them. I'm not saying you can't, but you need an attorney. I had to sell my home. You may have to do something bad too. I hated it. I hate where I live now. I really do. It's a small little 3-bedroom apartment, and I got my 2 boys and my wife in separate rooms. I sleep on the couch, and it's sad. It really is sad. My credit's been ruined. My life has been ruined, and I'm fighting. I'm still trying to find a job, and I struggle to get food on my table to feed my family. I struggle right now. My car broke down. I need a new transmission. There's so many issues that I'm fighting right now, and it's so hard. It's hard for me doing this podcast because at times, I try the rest. I try to do a good podcast and help you all, but it's really tough out there. So get that attorney. All you do is call 888-888-6582. Ask the appointment for Mr. Davis. Tell him that Bob Pace sent you. When you talk to Mr. Davis, tell him that Bob Pace sent me to you. And then also there is a email that's running on the bottom of my screen. And that email is the schedule for Vincent Davis. And let me read that to you there. What you do is you go to https:// candidly, CALENDLY.com/APPT. And then it is TS and then VWD/Bob Pace. That'll get you to his appointment calendar. It's being written across the bottom of my screen. So I strongly urge you to get Mr. Davis there. So that's my rule number 1. Now, my rule number 2 is a pretty simple one. Yes, Misty Forson, I don't know how you can do this type of job because this is infuriating. Yeah, I know it's really hard. I do it in memory of my daughter. I know nice people like Faye and Christina and Shannon and yourself come to the room asking for help, and I want to give you so much help. I wish I could wave a wand and tell you that it'll be all right. I just know you got to be smart, heads up. Now, rule two is about paperwork. That's the worst thing people want to do. I didn't do it. You need to organize all your paperwork into a 8.5 by 11-inch binder that's roughly 3 to 6 inches thick with 3 rings. And there you're going to add subject dividers and you're going to stuff it full of notebook paper, college rule notebook paper. And you're going to organize it. And one of the first ones that's really important is your incidents. You need to list every incident, the date, the time, the location, and the people involved with the incident. Then the next line, you want to type what the incident was about. And then the next line, you want to type the outcome. And then skip a couple lines. If you don't know the outcome, fill it in later. But you're going to need this because in 6 months, a year, 2 years, you won't remember this. So you need to do it. Use highlighters. Other subject tabs can be your court papers. Hole punch them, organize them, put a log in front. Could also be your parenting classes, your certificates, your programs, their certificates, like domestic violence and anger management programs, your drunk rehab program, or drugs. So you need to add it all in there, and so that way you'll go prepared to fight your case. And um, use a highlighter, pink and yellow. They come in handy. Oh boy. Boy. Rule number 3 is a very important rule. It's where you don't want to answer the door. And I'm telling you, too many people have answered the door and are dead, including policemen. Policemen don't know how to open a door. They always stand in front of the door and bang on it, and the guy on the other side is going to shoot them dead through the door. Or you're there and you're going to get shot. Now, what happened was too recently, a black lady in a nice apartment in her bathrobe was doing her dishes, and the cops burst in, and the one cop, the rogue cop, took out a gun and fired 5 times in her face and killed her instantly. Why? He wasn't threatened. You could see from the body cam. That night, he was fired and he was arrested for first-degree murder. Now, the other guy was a black man in the Air Force, alone in his apartment, talking to his girl on FaceTime when he was shot 5 times in the chest by a sheriff from the Gainesville, Florida Sheriff's Department who had gone to the wrong apartment for domestic violence. He didn't handle the case that well, and the guy died on video cam, on FaceTime. So I'm telling you, don't answer the door. Hide in the closet. Go somewhere else. You don't have to answer the door to anyone. There are only 3 ways that police or social workers can get in the home. 1, you give them permission. 2, there is danger going on like domestic violence or someone's using a weapon to hurt each other, or a child is being slammed against the wall, they will break into the home. And then 3 is they have to have a warrant. A warrant. That is a court document signed by a judge, embossed with a stamp that you can see and feel. And it gives you very explicit directions. Who the warrant's to, your name, your wife, whoever the people involved are listed along with the children. And then what the allegations are. That's listed. And then the instructions, what place they need to go to, the address. And on top of that, what date and time they can come into the home. And lastly, what they plan to do. Are they going to take your children, talk to you, or whatever? So whatever you do, there's no way you should let them have your children. You know, if you're outside and you're approached, an easy way to do when you talk to them is give them yes, no answers, and then tell them that you need to contact your attorney before they go any further, because you want to be represented by an attorney. That's your constitutional right, to be represented by an attorney at all times of the proceedings. So, you know, an easy way to get out of it, just say, time out. I need to talk to my attorney. I'll get back to you. They'll give you some time to get an attorney. They don't know whether you have an attorney or not. So I'm telling you, you know, just short answers to police or cops. And you're outside, get away from them. Just end the conversation. And don't forget about medical trafficking. This is where you go in the middle of the night with your sick child, and a CPS worker is working there and they'll take your child. It's wrong what they do. Or you're a mother giving birth, you go to the birthing room, and like that video just showed today, the police tried to take the child from you. So you got to be careful there. You got to be careful there. So I'm telling you, you know, that is rule number 3. And the final rule I have is research. Everything you need to know. If you live in Kentucky and you live in Richmond, then you search CPS in Richmond, Kentucky. You want to find everything you know. Spend at least 40 to 60 hours. You'll find things, motions that help you, things about other cases. The internet is your power. It's the cheapest form to fight your case. There's so much you can learn on that. There's so much you can learn on that. Now, Shannon, I don't know if you're still there, but you got to be really careful, because it's not the CPS are giving you grief. It's the Indian reservation that's giving you grief. And they call themselves the ICW, which stands for Indian Children Welfare. So I guess it's the Department of the Indian Lands, and they are separate from the CPS in that state of Oklahoma. And it's a horrible case you have. I am reading your emails too, Shannon. They're beautiful. You really explain a lot in them, and thank you so much for sharing them. I thank you so much. I only got 5 minutes left. Does anyone want to call in and talk? I've talked about all 4 rules. And for people that don't know what the ICWA is, it's the Indian Welfare Child Act of 1978. And it was 100 years in making. It should have been done in 1875. But what it does, it forces the CPS to contact the tribe to see if the children are registered or could be registered with that tribe. There's 548 tribes. And that are recognized. So what it does is it turns, the CPS are forced to turn the Indian children over to Indian families. Okay, we got a call coming in. All right, this is Bob Pace. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Hello, who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Jenny.
This is Tammy?
Jenny.
Jenny. Okay, you got to turn my voice down in the background. If you're talking on your phone, you got to turn that podcast down, because My voice in the phone is echoing.
I enjoy watching the.
Yeah, I know you're watching it. Where are you from, Jenny? Where are you from, Jenny?
I'm in the West Coast, United States.
You're in the West Coast? Are you in California? I can't.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my problem, Jenny. I want to help you, but my voice is in the background and it's echoing. Here's my problem, Jenny. I want to help you.
Okay, let me get rid of the voice. Can you hear me better?
Yes, that's much, much better. Now, what
Are
is?
you an attorney?
I'm not an attorney. I'm a loving father of 6 children, married 31 years, but I have the experience with CPS of 15 years. I've been fighting them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
Okay, Jenny, could you describe your case?
Yeah, basically they got placed with the dad and the dad left for a vacation. I want to know what should I do? What do you think?
What is your question now?
So the dad left for a vacation with a new wife and the baby that's a year old, less than a year old. So what should I do to get my kids back from the dad?
Oh, you have a problem there with the dad. Okay, what did the dad do? What did the dad do?
What do you mean?
Well,
the word?
Why is the child with the dad and not with the mother?
Oh, because he just accused me, not he, but his mother accused me his verbal threats.
Okay.
That I didn't, yeah.
Well, what were you charged? What were the negligence you were charged?
Basically, failure to protect by the CPS, I think.
Was it neglect or abuse?
A neglect, not a clean home.
Okay. And is the father not helping out?
With for me to get a place, no. I'm living with a friend of mine.
Okay, I'm going to have to spend some time talking to you. So what I'm going to ask you is that my show time is up. It's already after 8:00. I begin my shows at 7:00 at night and over at 8. And also, I am on in the morning. Now tomorrow morning I'll be on at 8 in the morning or 7:00 tomorrow night. So call me back at 8 in the morning or 7:00 tomorrow night and Pacific Standard Time, and I'll gladly help you, or the next day. I will talk to you. I'm on 14 times a week, so I'm not running from you. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much for calling in, Tammy. Yeah, Tammy is from California. We have EC. I don't know where you're from, EC. And I don't know what your case is, but you came in right after 8:00. And Shannon is asking me, I know the freedom of speech. You got to be careful, Shannon. We will talk further, Shannon. Shannon's from Oklahoma. She has a horrible case with the Indian reservation. Misty Foreman's from Cincinnati, Ohio. She has an infuriating case. She can't even talk about it. Christina now lives in New Mexico, but her case was in California and Nevada. So there. Faye's from from Richmond, Kentucky. And Happy Feet's from Arizona. And who else we got? Shannon, Faye, Christina, Misty, Happy Feet. Alexis Honer, I have no idea what her case is about or where she's from. All she said was why. I think she was talking about the Blue Heart. Oh, yeah, Alexis. So you've been welcome too. I'm glad we had you. So good night. God bless you, and keep fighting for your kids. This is Bob